My favorite part was the TikTok workshop and meeting the people, because I'm a people person and I loved sharing that knowledge, sharing that expertise. And even though I want to say, oh, my favorite part was being in the TV segments because it was fun and it was a cool thing, but it was like a close second to my favorite thing, which is making those connections.
When we make TikToks, we have control of the camera, the angle. But when we're on other people's stuff, we're not really like in control of it. And especially for like news and live performing, you can't redo it. Like when we make TikToks, you can make like 15 takes and then pick the best one.
Yes.
When I go on stage, I go up once for 5 minutes and that's it for the night.
Hi, Julie. We're back.
Hello.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back. It was a big week. I don't know why it was a big week, but it was a whirlwind week for me, at least. How about you?
For you.
How about you?
I don't know if it was a whirlwind, but it was a week.
Yeah. All right. That's okay.
Why don't we start with what you did? Because you had quite the
I had
adventurous
some
week.
adventures. I don't want to monopolize the conversation, so let's make sure that we have a little back and forth about things so I don't take over because I have a lot to say today. Okay.
I know you do.
Gosh, since last week, one of the things I forgot to mention last week, which would have been so timely to talk about, was how Dad and I decided to watch the end of The Golden Bachelor. We watched the last episode of The Golden Bachelor, not having watched the whole show. So that was kind of amusing. We kind of jumped into a trending show without much knowledge about it. And it was pretty amusing. I was a little bit thrown by it because I was thinking, why do all these women in this age want to do this? And why did they want to put themselves in this position of like competing for a man? And it just, the whole thing, the concept of The Bachelor in general, a little bit freaks me out. But
aren't you happy that they're doing it with older people?
Of course, inclusivity. And I think that what I've been told by friends that I've seen who have watched the show from the beginning, that the women that are older are much more supportive of each other. And apparently they were friendships formed. And so I missed that part of it. And I guess I didn't get to see that part. And all I got to see was the end. So yes, I am thrilled that it was inclusive. I heard good things about all the people that were in the show. And do you know anything about it? Did you watch it all or no?
No, I've kind of been off the Bachelor train for a couple of years now, which has been nice.
It's so funny because The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, to me, I remember Trista and Ryan. Like that was, to me, that was the pinnacle time of the Bachelor series. Was The Bachelorette. So number one, I liked it because the woman was actually the picker. And so I love that one. And I will never forget that. It was never going to get better than that episode, that series with those two. So I stopped watching it after that. And now I jumped into The Golden Bachelor. So that I just wanted to wrap that up from last week. And then things that happened after that. I mean, I took Jonathan to WWE, drove out to Pennsylvania with him and two friends. And that was a lot of fun, a lot of entertainment. I'm not necessarily a wrestling aficionado, but one thing I did learn in the past 2 times taking him is, do you get the premise of wrestling, Julie, in general? Do you Well, this guy, I always thought, I don't think maybe I'm gullible and I never realized that was the whole story of wrestling. But what came to my mind last time I took them was, wow, this is like performance. It's like theater for a different group of people, for the non-theater goer types. I was so intrigued. So that's why I was game to go another time, because I was like, this is interesting. It's just like a show. It's a performance. So I took them. That was a really fun night. And I literally went from driving them to Pennsylvania, getting back home very late at night. The next morning I had to get up, go to a meeting out in New Jersey. But before I went to the meeting, I had to be dressed for a wedding that evening because my friend Michelle's daughter, Dana, got married on Sunday. So I was on a whirlwind weekend. It was crazy. And now what happens to me? What do you think is going on with me and these weddings now? Do you see a pattern at all?
You make a TikTok? I don't know.
I am now in charge of content for every person's wedding. Like they know that I'm making content, so therefore there will be a video after. And I was so stressed out because
that's funny.
After that wedding, now I think I'm just going to my stock in weddings has gone up. I probably could get myself invited to weddings that I wouldn't normally be invited to.
You don't need any more side gigs.
I don't need any more side gigs. And anyway, I wanted to get this video edited. And I got home so late from the wedding. It was like midnight or 1 by the time I got back to the apartment. And then I had to be on a flight at 7 a.m. for my whirlwind 24-hour trip to Tallahassee. So I had to get in at 1 o'clock. I had to pack a bag and figure out 4 looks because the plan for Tallahassee was to record 4 TV segments. So I had to have 4 outfits. And then I was nervous, like I wasn't going to like an outfit. So I was throwing extra things in. And then I went to sleep around 2 and I thought, well, I have to get up at 5 to get this flight. And I was so nervous about falling asleep because you know how you think you're not going to wake up when you don't, I'm going to go into a deep. I mean, do you sleep well the night before you're traveling? If you have to get on an early flight?
Well, it's kind of funny you say that because tomorrow I'm flying to Ohio for my freshman year college roommate's wedding, and my flight is at 6 a.m. So I will be getting up at like 4 a.m.
And do you sleep well when this happens?
At like 4:30. It depends. It depends on how tired I am. I feel like I'm not, I don't know. We'll see. I might take I don't know, because it's like I want to take something to help me sleep, but then because I'm waking up so early, I'm just going to be really groggy. But then I'm like, maybe, if I take like a sleepy gummy or something, like it'll last. And by the time I get on the flight, I'll still be in like sleepy mode and I'll be able to sleep on the flight.
That I would never do. That is a terrifying thought because sometimes I wouldn't wake up. I wouldn't wake up for the flight. I know that I would miss the alarm. Something would happen.
I'm such a light sleeper that that would never be a problem for me.
Well, good for you. There's no chance I could ever do that. I'd rather if I have an early flight, stay up until the flight. Just stay up, just power through until the morning. Yeah. One time I was on a shoot and I think it was in LA and I had to take a really early flight. Trying to remember where I was, but after the shoot at the Wrap, we went out for dinner with the crew. We went out for drinks and things, and I said to them, "We're all going to stay out until I have to get on this flight." So I made a bunch of them. I didn't make them, but I was joking with them, like, "You all have to stay out with me until the bars close, and then I'm going to go directly to the airport." And we did. We went out after the bars closed. We went to a diner, and then I got in a taxi and went to the flight because I just feel more calm, not going to sleep. I get worried that I'm not going to wake up. That's just me.
Good for you.
Anyway, so then,
before you jump into Tallahassee, I can talk to my weekend.
Let's do that because Tallahassee's. No, I do want to talk to it because Tallahassee's going to lead into more topics of what we're talking about and how we're moving forward on things. So, what's your update? News flashes?
Well, it's not much like the weekend too. I had a show last night. Mm-hmm. It wasn't my best. It wasn't my worst. Okay. So it was fine. Tried out a ton of new material and I didn't have it 100% memorized. So I was more worried on stage about what line came next than about being in the moment. So now that I'm getting ready for next week's show, I'm going to start preparing now so that the content is automatic so that I don't have to think about it when I'm on stage. And I know that'll just comfort on stage will come with time. Then the other thing is that I went to one of my friend's comedy shows on Friday and he did great, but it was one of the worst comedy show experiences of my entire life.
Oh, you didn't even tell me about this. Okay, let's hear it.
I know. I forgot.
Yeah, because you told me about last night, which I want to comment on. But
do you want to comment on that before I go into the worst comedy show I've ever been to?
Yes, I do. I want to say that after your show, of course, I was waiting up to hear the update, and that's one thing that I almost can't sleep. If I know you're performing, I need to wait to get the feedback before I can fall asleep. So I was staying up, and I was tired, and I was staying up, and then finally you messaged me and you said you didn't think it went great and that you didn't think you got a lot of laughs. And I said, did you record it? You said yes. And then you didn't want to send it to me, but then you did. So I want to say from my perspective, hearing what you just said now about it, I did not think you sounded even like unprepared, like you didn't know the material at all. It sounded clean.
Oh, that's good.
Not at all. I'm surprised that you're saying that actually, because I didn't.
Okay, because that was like my biggest thing where it's like I just didn't feel very comfortable.
No,
it was also
I didn't get that.
The audience was like pretty small for the space, so it just felt like almost like very empty. And the people in the front row were like on their phones and like
Oh,
talking to each other while I was performing. So it's just
that's
like
rude.
hard. And it's like a lot of the shows that you hear, they're like bringer shows. So you have to bring five
Mm.
people to perform so that you can share the audience. So I get it. But sometimes with those kinds of audiences, it's like people only laugh at the people they came to support. So
That's
it's
not
like
right.
the people who had 10 people there are laughing like they're dying. And then I'm up there and nobody, like, I only had like 4 or 5 people last night,
I don't
which
like that.
I'm glad I did. Like, it's just, yeah. So that's like frustrating. But
I think people
it'll
need to
get
be
better with practice.
people need to be a little bit more supportive in general. When I go to the shows,
Yeah.
and I really try and put it out there for like put my laughs out there, smile at other people, especially when you know they're new, potentially new comedians. You don't. Oh no, that's I don't know. I'm a
Yeah.
for the person kind of audience. Big laughs. But
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you from listening to what you sent me an audio file. I didn't think you sounded nervous. I didn't think you sounded like you were unsure of the material at all. And my take on it was the people didn't really, maybe they didn't get the humor. They didn't find it as certain things as funny as usually people do when they hear your set. So the laughs weren't like solid roars, but you could tell, I
Yeah.
always could tell like the people liked you because some of the, and I know you don't like the word giggles, but there was a lot of little giggles going on the audio, and I like that because I felt that they were endearing. The audience liked you. I like that. I think that's positive. Listen, they're all not going to be a home run, and so you're going to
I
have
know.
to push through that and know that okay, now you're going to tweak your material. Maybe you're not going to do something because you don't feel confident in it, but I think there's also about the audience. You have to think about who
Yeah.
your audience is and what they might like something that you did last night. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't ditch it.
I'm not gonna ditch it by any means. I don't think it was bad. It just didn't
Good.
come out off stage feeling like very good,
Right. What'd Stephen
which is
think?
not a fun way to feel. He thought I did good. He's always
He's
very supportive and very, he will tell me if I didn't do well, but he thought I did well. So
good.
not that he'll tell me if I didn't do well, but like I want honest. I don't want
Yes.
people to blow smoke.
Right.
And he also levels me out where it's like where I'm hypercritical of myself. He'll kind of bring me back up and be like, "No, you did really good."
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
good to I love having him in the audience.
That's good. Well, he is
Although
supportive.
I couldn't see anybody last night.
Is it was it bright lights? Is it that kind of thing?
Mhm.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Which is still something I'm getting used to. It really depends on the venue too. Like,
And you can
but
see
yeah,
just the few people in the beginning of in the front of the audience. Is that how it is?
yeah,
So if they're not
yeah,
engaged, that's annoying.
yeah. Because
Mm.
it's like, oh, well, no one else is engaged, even though people maybe in like the third or fourth row are
Mhm.
more engaged. So
So with
yeah.
this, with your what you're doing with comedy, and what I want to focus the topic on today is really about manifesting things and how.
Oh
So do
wait, do we
you?
want to hear about the
No,
worst
no.
comedy show I've ever been
Oh
to?
yeah, yeah. I do want to hear that before we move on. Let's go.
Okay.
Why was it so bad?
I'll give you the express version.
Okay.
So bad. My friend did great, but it was so bad. And there was only one woman on the lineup. That's always a red flag for me. It's like there needs to be some kind of diversity of gender, in my opinion. And like also just like diversity in general is better
Hmm.
for any show. But the first person who went up was trying to do crowd work, and his crowd work was just looking at this woman who had like very fake boobs and asking the woman what her cup size was. And the whole night was just like, and she didn't want to say, like, she has no, that's not good crowd work. But the problem was, so many other comedians got up and they were doing material, and it's only like a crowd of like 25 people. It's like a really small crowd. People weren't getting that many laughs. And this is like a hard room because I've performed in this room. But I I I had a very big epiphany breakthrough
Okay.
where a lot of male comics, when they're on stage and their material isn't doing well, they will blame the audience and they'll be like, gosh, you guys are a shit crowd. Gosh, you guys suck. Like, gosh, I think it's funny. But you never
Oh my!
really hear
I've
a
heard them.
female comic do this.
Oh my
And I
God!
think the problem is that a lot of these male comic egos can't handle not getting laughter. Whereas like when I'm on stage and I don't get laughter, I'm like, what do I need to do better?
Right. That's a
And so that's
huge
kind of like this
epiphany.
epiphany I had because I've never really seen a female. I mean, I'm sure there are female comics who are like shit on the audience when they're not doing well, but like it's very rare. It's way more common for male comics. Like, geez, y'all are a medium crowd. That's what one of the comics said last night. It's like, if you diss the audience, they're not going to want to laugh at you. So
They
why are you
sh- they
doing
are
that?
not going to want to
It's like if
laugh.
your material's not working,
Oh my
diss
God.
yourself for writing. Anyway, that's
That
why it was a bad
is,
comedy show because
uh,
every male comic was just like, oh, I thought that was funny. That one's just for me, then I guess.
wow. That's very enlightening. And it's so much like what people do on social media when they don't get views on their content. They blame the viewers, like,
Yeah.
oh, nobody likes my videos, or nobody, or the algorithm doesn't like my content. Like the pointing blame thing and the blaming the wrong people. Maybe take a look inside.
Yeah. Even I was like, oh, the audience wasn't like the best last night, but I'm more putting it on myself to be a better performer than I am like, oh, the audience needs to be better.
Yeah.
My only
Yeah.
critique of audiences is when it's these bringer shows and you only laugh at the people you came for. Like that is not really
Yeah,
that's not cool.
no, it's not cool.
That's the
That's
only like critique I have of audiences really. It's just yeah.
Can you get a sense of what the audience is going to be right from the beginning? Do you feel it immediately? How is that on your side?
I try not to get intimidated or like prescribe how I think the audience is before I get on stage because I'm like I just want to do my best regardless of the audience that's out there. So I don't know. I haven't really done
I,
much in that department yet.
I want to ask you a few more questions, if that's okay with you. So, with respect to where you're headed with this, do you have,
Yes.
because I know Julie is a planner, I know you well. So, do you travel down a path in your mind of like, I want this to happen next and that to happen next? Or are you surrendering yourself to the experience and seeing where it goes? I would like to know how you're approaching this.
A little bit of both. I feel
Okay.
like I would love to have a plan and be like, yes, I would love to be a really big stand-up comedian, have a Netflix special, do this, do that, be like a paid regular at clubs. Like that would be great.
Hmm.
The problem is I don't necessarily know what the next steps are to get there. Like I don't
Right.
know what's next. I don't know how to like it's just a matter of continuing to perform and also performing for the right people and networking to an extent.
Hmm.
So, as much as I'd love to say yes, like this is my grand plan for comedy, it's kind of hard to have one when it's like I'm a little bit at the mercy of like,
Hmm.
I don't know, you know?
Yeah,
Does that
it
make,
is
is that a,
hard. It is hard. I mean,
and I think,
I have to say, I'm asking you this because I'm not a planner, so I don't know how your brain works. Like I'm always a follow the I have a hard time planning. I like to just like, well, I don't know, let's see what happens with this. And so I was trying to get inside your head, like if you're are planning or are you really just letting yourself experience it?
yeah, I would say little bit of both. I think
Okay.
the planning sense of that in the new year, I want to be performing more than just right now. It's like once a month, once every 2 weeks, if
Right.
that. In the new year, I'd love to be performing at least once a week, if not more, just to because I know the only way I'm going to get better is just to keep performing. So that's a goal. Another goal is to like run and produce my own shows
Mm,
with my comic friends because I also think that gives me more credibility as a comic if I'm running my own shows and allows me to network with people who might be higher up because I am producing shows. So those are the two things that I'm actively planning to do. And then on top of that, just like submitting to festivals and following other people and just, I don't know. I think I mean, like, it would be great to have an agent and like get
soon.
booked and like get paid for doing things and to start doing shows where it's not dependent on me bringing 5 people for
Right.
stage time, but it's
Right.
like it's a ticketed build show where obviously I'm going to promote it and try and get people to come, but I'm not at the mercy of like, oh my God. Like last night, I was more stressed about having 5 people than I was my material
Right.
because a lot of people had to bail at the last minute. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, I'd rather just be more concerned about the material than getting people.
there. I know. That's like, I think that's like added stress really to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because
Because then it's like if you don't bring enough people, then you get like a worse spot in the lineup. And then like I went third, which isn't like the worst, but it's not the best. It's not like like when I bring more people, I get like a better spot. And then I do think the laughs are better because people are like loose and drinking and this and that. But
right.
I don't know. We're manifesting positive
manifesting
comedy vibes. I think part of it is gonna be being on social media more.
Okay.
And just putting my comedy on social media to hopefully get more eyeballs and credibility.
And then when something hits
so if anyone wants to follow me on Instagram,
yes, we need some followers on the Instagram. That's at Juli Polise without an E.
Juli Polise, JULI POLISE.
Simple. We are in manifest mode for real. I truly feel it. And I'm going to segue because I felt last week that things were being discussed and then a sequence of events happened. And I do believe they're connected. It's just crazy. So we're in manifest mode, and this thing that came up, and it was like, oh gosh, it's such a series of events. So I was on a News Nation segment, and on that segment, it was about being, quote, a grandfluencer, the word I hate. And there was another guy on the segment who was also, he wrote a book called The Super Age about people aging and thriving in a new way in their next chapters. Interesting guy. And he's the one that got me on the program. And when we decided to meet when he was in the city, that shortly after the segment, one of the things he said to me off the cuff is, you should be a segment on the Today Show. He kind of just dropped it there like that. And he said, like Babs, the woman from TikTok, she does a cooking segment. You should be their social media with a weekly segment about what's trending on social media, what's hot, how to be successful on social media. And it was such a weird thing for him to say. And I was like, oh my God, that would be perfect. So I started to almost like obsess on it. Like, I have to get on the Today Show. And he had other thoughts. He was like, you should write a book, like blah, blah, blah. So we had this whole follow-up, it's a whole conversation about his thoughts, which were really interesting. But the Today Show thing kind of stuck with me. And then I just started putting it out, I want to say, to the universe. So I was talking to Megan about it, who is our digital marketing expert. And she said, get out of here. The Today Show, those are my peeps. I was like, what are you even talking about? Yeah, I know the people there. They bring me in. I used to work there and they're my friends. What? So I felt like this is crazy. Things are happening. So I then decided that I wanted to make a pitch to the Today Show. And she was like, yeah, I'll see who we could send it to, whatever. So we're having these conversations. And with that, she gets booked for a segment on the Today Show. And now she has like a deadline in her mind. Like, we have to get something together to pitch to them in a week because I'm going to be on the Today Show. So I, of course, my wheels are spinning. I'm like, we're going to get a studio. Megan, she's also a talented actress. So she always gets newscaster roles. So she's like, I'll be the newscaster. I'll interview you. You're going to be, and we'll do a little segment, like a teaser segment to send to them. So we get this all in our head that this is what's going to happen. And honestly, like 2 days after that, Marcia Dahl from TikTok reaches out to me via text because we'd gone from off the app to texting at one point. And she's like, I want to have you down to Tallahassee to be on my show. What? So she has this TikTok segment. Did you see it, Julie? Did I ever send it to you? Her little TikTok segment? Okay.
No, you never sent it.
You should see it. It's comical. So she's a character, and we'll put some videos in the show notes about this. She's a crazy character. And she does a TikTok tips of the week or something, picks of the week. And she has so she records these for a local station in Tallahassee, Florida. And she has been wanting to have me on, but it was just weird timing. Like, what happens that out of the blue, we had talked about this 4 months ago, and then it never happened. And all of a sudden, the week that I'm talking about the Today Show, Marcia Dahl contacts me and she wants to have me on her show, her TV segment. So I was like, well, now you don't have to record this fake thing. I'm going to go down to Tallahassee and we'll do the real thing. So then cue my whirlwind trip to Tallahassee, which was insane. Right?
It looked crazy.
It was crazy. So I don't know. I think maybe you should steer the boat on this. So how should I start?
I know, I was just waiting for you.
How do you steer me?
Well, like, I guess what was your favorite part of the trip? Like, what was the best? What was the
Oh,
best part? Did you expect me to ask that question?
no, I didn't expect you to ask that because it was all pretty cool. Okay. There was three parts to it. Is that right? Yeah. So there was three parts to it, and with one little bonus part. So let me tell you the three parts, and then at the end I'll say what was my favorite. So the three parts were: first, she picked me up, and she's a wild woman. She pulls up at the airport in a Porsche, and she's, oh my God, and she's like loud and boisterous, and she's dressed to the nines all the time with these big glasses, the big hair, always with the lipsticks, the makeup. She's all done up, and she whisks me into her Porsche, and off we go directly to this TV studio. So first part was having our wardrobe laying in a hallway. Okay. Taking out the clothes, figuring out what we're going to wear on each segment. She's got the shoes, the heels, she's going crazy. And then we're trying to make a plan because of course I wanted to produce it and make sure it was like concisely put together. So I knew what TikToks I wanted to talk about. And so I was going to steer her a little bit, but she was going to ask me questions. So we had this fun time at the studio. And it was the first time ever that I was not filmed really. I guess you can count CNN and those things, but I had to speak into an actual camera, not a phone. It was so different because there's a camera up there and there's a director back there and he's like calling the shots and so that was kind of cool. And I wasn't sure how I was going to be because I didn't know if I'd get nervous because it wasn't just me and my iPhone kind of thing. But so that went really well. Super fun. She matches my energy when it comes to excitement and just like zest for life. She's a two-time cancer survivor, so we have that in common. But yet we're very different personalities. She's very showman, model personality, and I'm very just Helen crazy, but I'm just more like a real person. I don't know. She's not a fake person. She's so warm and wonderful and she's such a good heart, but she's just like out there. So the two of us just got along great. So we did the segments and we powered through. And I was sweating at one point, Julie. I know you can relate to this, changing the clothes, like tights on and off.
I was freaking sweating last night, and everyone's like, "It's so cold in here." They're like, "Okay, we'll turn the heat on." I'm like, "Please
No.
don't."
Oh my God. I know. We run hot. Let's just say that. So I was sweating, but we recorded the three segments and then we were going to record four, but we were too tight for time because the next stop was to go to this rooftop kind of bar place where she had organized a TikTok workshop and had a bunch of people coming. And I thought, oh, 5 people are going to show up. Well, no, not 5 people showed up. A lot of people showed up. And I did a TikTok workshop. Thank you for my deck made by Julie. Credit to you for my top 10 tips for creating content. So I had a really organized presentation and she introduced me and she's so lovely because she says the nicest things about like who I am and how we met and the excitement she has in her voice. She's awesome. And I had posted about this a day or two before. And there was somebody that I follow on TikTok who has 2.8 million followers and his name is J.M. Gator. And he does household tips for like Mr. Fix-It tips. He's so funny. And at the end of his videos, he always goes next and he throws whatever it was he was talking about. He tosses it out of frame. So he's got that. So I've been following him forever. One time I was live with him and a bunch of people when we were on TikTok live. And he's like, I'm going to be nearby. I'm going to come to this workshop. What? So I didn't think he would actually show up because you never know when things happen and it's like real life takes over. But at the end of my presentation, in walks him. So it was an awesome workshop presentation. Everybody was so excited and engaged. And then like on cue, he walks in at the end. So I was able to bring him up as like a success story of somebody who has made it on social media just by sharing his expertise, which is exactly one of the points that I made in the 10-point slide deck. So I was really excited. It was like the perfect tie it up with a bow. Perfect. And then we got to really chat and we went outside and made TikToks and that was really, really fun. So that was part 2. That was fun. And then part 3 was she took me to her cancer group. Now, did I know I was going to this? I think she mentioned it, but I thought we were doing a little drive-by to the cancer group. And she said, oh yeah, we'll just do a quick drive-by. And that they want to meet you and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So as we're walking up to this house in this really cool place where this cancer group meets, she says, okay, so I'm going to just do my talk for a few minutes and then I'll introduce you and then you could take it from there. And I'm thinking, what? What? I had no idea. And maybe I missed it. She said that she told me, but I didn't know I was going to be speaking to the cancer group as well. And then I was like, am I talking about TikTok or am I talking about cancer? I was like, so she goes, no, you're talking about cancer. I said, okay.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Chaos.
Yes.
You didn't answer my question.
Which I'm getting to it. So then I had to speak.
Okay.
I need to get
Should I
to the
just, should I
third
just go
part.
sit on the couch and cuddle up with a blanket and tea?
All right, this is the
Okay,
last one.
Continue.
So I had to speak to the cancer group, and she introduced me, and then I gave them like my little short story of my cancer thing, as I like to call it, the cancer thing, and that was really great. And then we went out to dinner, and she dropped me at my hotel. So this was like a whirlwind day. Now, my favorite part of the day was the TikTok workshop and meeting the people and speaking, because I'm a people person, and I loved sharing that knowledge, sharing that expertise. And even though I want to say, oh, my favorite part was being in the TV segments because it was fun and it was a cool thing, but it was like a close second to my favorite thing, which is making those connections. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have another question?
Are you excited to see yourself on TV?
Not really.
Are you going to watch it?
I'm nervous. I'm going to watch it. She's not going to, I think it's not playing here, so it's local.
It is funny asking you if you want to watch it back, because when I do my stand-up, it's really hard for me to watch my video or listen to my tape like really short after. Like I have to wait a few days and then I feel like better about it if I'm like a little bit further removed. So I still haven't listened to my tape from last night, and I'll probably get the video in the next few days, and I probably won't watch it right away because sometimes I just need the separation.
Yeah. Well, now I want to ask you, why do you think we love to watch our TikToks, but we don't like to watch our performances?
Okay. I know why.
Do you?
Know why. When we make TikToks, we have control of the camera, the angle, the that. They have control over like the production value. When we're on these other, and that's really important to both of us. But when we're on other people's stuff, we're not really like in control of it. And especially for like news and live performing, you can't redo it. Like when we make TikToks, you can make like 15 takes and then pick the best one.
Yes.
When I go on stage, I go up once for 5 minutes and that's it for the night. That's also why I want to perform more, so that I can like
have more things, have more tapes to pick from or footage, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that is exactly right. You nailed it.
I know.
Because that's why I'm nervous about seeing this, because I'm like, am I going to like it? Like, the other thing is, I'm going to add this to it. We're editors too by nature. So if we can curate our own content to be the story we want it to be or the shots we want it to be, and we don't have control when someone else is editing it as well. So not only the shooting and the look and the angle.
Lucky for me, it's like it's one take. It's 1 5-minute video. It is interesting though, because I got a tape back from one of my shows, and they have like different packages you can do, which is like kind of crazy. And they're like, oh, you pay this much money and you can get like 3 cameras, whatever. My set wasn't that great, so I was like, I just want the main one. But I got it, and the audio was like the only audio was really from like my microphone, and it barely caught any of the audience volume.
Laughing. That's the worst.
It just looks like I bombed, even though it was like a great set. I'm like, well, this sounds awful, because so I actually messaged them and they said they're gonna like remix the audio because they had other cameras with other microphones. I'm like, why didn't you do that in the first place?
That's ridiculous. Anyway, that's a key part of a comedian's act, is like the response,
the laughter. Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna post freaking crickets.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Yeah. But and that is part of it. The production is out of our control. You kind of once again hit the nail on the head. Always with your insights. Always.
You're welcome.
Flip the hair. It's true.
We have like 10 minutes left, so do we want to end up? I know we have a meeting, an actual work meeting.
Oh, we actually do have a work meeting. I wasn't even watching the clock for that. I was just
that's why you have me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. And the work meeting is with about potential influencer sponsorship opportunities. That's going to be fun. Oh my gosh. And then the one thing
I've only been telling you to do this for years,
know,
and all it
it's
does is
time.
take one other person to tell you
No,
it's
because
a legitimate offer.
no, that's the point of this is just to explore the idea because I don't want to be a salesperson on social media. But if I had some content
Okay, but
sponsored by someone, yes, you have been telling me this. Yes. Okay, you're right.
I've always told you when you get sponsorship deals, I'll help you plan the content so it doesn't feel like an ad.
I know. Well, we'll see what's going to happen.
It's fine.
We'll see. I didn't say no. I just was like, not now. And maybe now's the time. We'll see. We'll see. We're going to just discuss it. I want to segue a little bit to two things. To two things.
You're like, get me out of here.
Get me out of this topic. So, the first thing is just this whole like where we're headed with Socialize just as we're evolving the newsletter, which I'm very excited about. And I would love to put it out there, how we're doing the Socialize forecast and the Socialize strategy, and how we're going to really focus on making the newsletter for creators and not so much of a teaching platform type. The teaching is still going to come from me, the mothership, and it's still going to be what I post as content. But the newsletter is going to be a higher level for creators. And I love where we're headed with it. So I just wanted to put that out there. Okay. Part two that I want to put out there is that I'm going to be on the Today Show in my mind. No, not in my mind. I'm going to be on the Today Show. I've already decided that that's what the future is. That is my manifesting. I'm saying it here. I'm saying it now. And the day I got back from being with Marcia Dahl and I knew that I was good at what I did, and it helped me to have validation to be on that set with her when we did that thing together and we were going back and forth, and her producer was like, that was great. To have a producer validate, because it's, he's in the TV business.
Yeah.
And he said and I said to him, I want criticism. Was there anything we can do better for segment 2? He's like, that was great. You balanced each other. The camaraderie was good. Our energies were good. And we had different kind of energies, but they were really symmetrical and complementary. And so now that I have that behind me, I feel the confidence that I can do this. And I won't be nervous and I won't be stressed. That's just going to be, it's what I'm meant to do. So I'm going to just manifest that right here and now before it even happens. Okay.
And I'll manifest that I will have a comedy special one day and that I will be a successful comedian.
And I will have all the behind the scenes footage.
That's what I say. If I ever have a bad show or a bad open mic, I'm going to go, these people are going to remember me when I have a Netflix special one day. And they're going to be like, either how the fuck did this girl get so good? Or like, I remember seeing her when she was not good. Or I remember doing an open mic with her, and that's my motivation when I don't do well.
That's so
like,
good.
All these people are going to remember, and they're like, I think I did an open mic with this girl.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. I'm manifesting that for you too.
Thanks.
It's just going to be great.
Once you get on the Today Show, you should get all the connections that help me.
Yes, it's going to be co-manifesting.
Yeah.
It's going to be balancing. I am so excited. So that's what we're putting on the table for this week. And that's what we're putting out to the world.
I'm also going to manifest more Instagram followers.
Okay.
You did that a couple years ago.
I did.
10,000 now.
Oh, that was in your bit last night.
It was in my bit.
Oh, it was so good.
I don't know if I'll do this bit next week, so I'll just say it on the podcast.
Yeah, say it on the pod. Let's go.
Live comedy. I said, I feel like I have to pick up the microphone and like hold it in my hand.
I want you to do the set right here.
Because this is the beginning of my set. So I go, oh my God, I'm so happy to be here tonight. And I'm so happy because 2023 is almost over. I'll do my own laugh track. Okay. I'll just laugh after all my jokes.
Okay.
And then I went, I love this time of year for the holidays, but I hate it because people start writing New Year's resolutions. And personally, I don't like setting myself up for failure. I said, my mom, on the other hand, has a winning record at following through on her New Year's resolutions. One year she said she wanted to be an influencer, and now she has 1 million followers on TikTok.
I have to say, I don't think the audience almost believed you, which is maybe why they didn't laugh.
I know, they didn't.
You should be like, I have the receipts. Here's the thing. Maybe I'd get some more followers. But seriously, though, I don't think they believed you because they laughed like they were like, huh?
You're shitting me. That's how they laughed.
Right. They laughed like that. And that was like, I wanted to say hello. I needed to be in the audience supporting you for that one.
Anyway,
it was funny. But it's true because and I remember where it was, and we were in Lake Tahoe, we had skied, and then it was my birthday, and you interviewed me on my birthday, and you said, what do you wish for? And it was the most ridiculous thing because I wished for more Instagram followers, which is like the stupidest thing.
I should have wished for the same thing, and then maybe it would have been this. Maybe I also would have been.
I know. It was so funny, but I ended up. I still don't have that many Instagram followers, but
you hit 10,000 followers.
I did. That was
shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Let's sign off.
On that note, all right, yours truly.
I'm sorry for cursing, Helen and Julie.
Okay. If you enjoyed the podcast this week, leave us a review. And guess what? We now have the podcast attached with our YouTube channel. So you can actually, if you go to the link for the podcast, you can also watch it on YouTube if that interests you. And we have a lot of fun with it, even though our poor editor, Nick, has to deal with our 2 video files and put it together with the audio. But we appreciate you, Nick. Anyway, so do leave us a review. But if you want to leave a comment, if you go to the YouTube, you can actually leave a whole long-winded comment over there. So that could be fun. Anyway, thank you to Nick for editing us, and Julie and I can be found on our socials, which is at Julie Polise for her, and she needs more Instagram followers, so tell your friends and family. And I'm at The Mothership with a U.
I sound so desperate. Follow me on Instagram.
I have no filter, and I'm going to ask for what we want. That's where I'm at right now. And our podcast is yours truly the podcast. So go check the show notes, and we'll have everything in there that we talked about today. All right. Bye.